Pacers really needed that one, and they got it. They beat the Heat on this floor right in front of me. I'm here at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Tony East with Forbes. Much to discuss from the Pacers win over the Miami Heat to get to 6-7 on the season. Still work to do to get where they want, but a good win nonetheless. In fact, this win was the first time this whole season the Pacers did not trail in a game. They scored first, and it was tied once at 97 in the fourth quarter, but the Pacers were never behind on the scoreboard. Very briefly against Orlando and Dallas and Boston tonight, never trailing. And I think that says a lot about the consistency that they needed from themselves today. They had none of this when they just played the same Heat team in the same building 2 days ago, Friday night, when the Heat came in, and a low-effort performance from the Pacers. Twice the starting five gets fully benched for effort concerns in the second half. That's not a game you can accept in the NBA, right? Fans pay to come see you. If you don't have enough in that way, it's just unacceptable for athletes in lots of ways. And they had a spirited film session about it. We learned that Tyrese Haliburton and Pascal Siakam stepped up, and that's important as team leaders for them to do so, and spoke about those things, effort and energy and connectivity and communication being much more important for this team for them to get back on track. Lo and behold, they did all that today. Their starting five, which needed to be better, their general energy was way better all night, right? They had a good energy in the first quarter of their Friday night game, but it continued in this one, even though it got hairy at times with the margin. Everything was better for the Pacers in a win that they really needed. They've already lost 3 in a row once this year. They couldn't have afforded a second one within their first 13 games to have 2 3-game losing streaks. They get back on track. How'd they get it done? Well, to me, it was a little bit of everybody with the starting five was all really good. The bench was just okay. The starters were really the story. But I point to Myles Turner. There was a lot of discussion about various guys after the game, and there should be. I think a lot of guys that will come up in this course of this short video. Myles Turner in this game, I mean, first of all, any season high in points, full stop, is noteworthy. 34 is a season high for him, exceeding his 30 against Dallas earlier this month. And he was doing that while guarding Bam Adebayo on the other end, and doing a pretty good job, I might add. Bam Adebayo played 39 minutes in this game, and they lost those minutes by 9. That was the Heat star player today with Jimmy Butler out. Yet the Pacers were able to neutralize him on the one end with Myles Turner's defense up in him, battling him on the glass. In fact, Turner with more rebounds than Bam tonight, forcing him to take some shots that he's not necessarily comfortable with. And then Turner himself on the other end, playing with a lot of force on offense, right? He had one shot early in the game where he kind of faded away, and for those of you following the Pacers for a long time, many have said for a while, when Myles Turner's playing not confident, he fades away in a shot a little bit. That went away right away. He got back to normal jumpers. He was very aggressive with his takes. One of his best transition finishes I can remember, flying up the court for a tough bucket in the second half of this one. Acrobatics, with power, drawing fouls. He really did it all. 5 threes. Hit all his free throws, took 23 shots, which sounds like a lot, but with the way this game was being played and the rotations the Heat had, it allowed for that to happen, and he made a lot of them. 14 made shots for Myles Turner in this game, 5 more than any other Pacer. That's why he's the lead in this game to me, on his way to 34 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks, only 1 turnover. They win his minutes by 11 points in a 9-point win. Massive game from Myles Turner on both ends of the floor. Talking to him afterwards was fascinating because he talked about not liking his own attitude recently and in recent games. That is very unique to hear a player open up in that kind of way. He wanted to shove that to the side. He wanted to put it behind him and get rolling. This is his 10th year in the league. He wants to be better. He absolutely was. This is a needed continuation for him. He needs to keep this up in future games. 40 minutes, the first night of a back-to-back. Could be tough, but big momentum game for Myles Turner against a tough opponent. He was up for it and played very well. Lots of starters played very well. Bennedict Mathurin played 37 minutes and had 21 points and 12 assists, and it was the quietest, awesome double-double I've ever seen. I knew he played well. 8 free throw attempts was huge, right? Almost half of the Pacers total by himself. He had one of his 2 threes, but to have 21 points on 10 shots, I think 10 shots is what made it feel quiet. That was the 4th most on the team. He had some tough finishes in the lane. His on-ball defense this year has been better than last year. And 12 rebounds, that led the team. Like, it's amazing that felt quiet to me, but it did. It didn't feel like he was, wow, look at that. He had a couple really impressive rebounds, to be clear, but there was never a moment where I thought, wow, look at that Ben Mathurin rebound, or man, that was a crazy shot or anything. Just a steady diet of buckets, a steady diet of boards. And that's not something you really see from him. And I mean that as a compliment that he had a game like that, where he can really kind of blend in and still have a stat line like that. That's something the Pacers have needed from him, and he really did it today. That's a big credit to him. I know it sounds weird to say it was quiet. I mean it as a compliment, but I really do, because that's atypical of someone who plays so loud and boomy and in your face all the time, in a good way. But he was terrific in this one, as was Pascal Siakam. 9 for 11. In this game. The front court for the Pacers, if you combine him and Turner together, were 23 for 34. The starters were Siakam with 23, 4 and 3. He was plus 10 as well. Did not miss a free throw. In fact, the Pacers' whole starting five did not miss a free throw. Siakam, steady diet of buckets as well. The challenge the Heat had is when they had Kevin Love and Bam out there. And remember, Kevin Love was awesome Friday night. Not as awesome tonight. He missed his first 3 shots. Kevin Love has to guard one of those two. And Myles Turner took advantage of that early, hitting 2 threes against Love in the first couple minutes of the game. When Kevin Love's not out there, sure, Nikola Jovic is tall, right? Jaime Jaquez is tall-ish, but they don't have the same kind of size to defend Siakam and or Turner when they're out there. So one of them, and sometimes even both, are going to have opportunities to make plays, to score, to be effective, and they did it in this game. Big credit to both of them. And Tyrese Haliburton really struggled from the field. He started, I believe, 2 for 10 in this game, but hit 2 massive threes late. He goes 3 for 8 from deep. They were consecutive. The Heat tied the game up at 97, and they had a lot of fourth quarter momentum. Tyler Hero was balling. He was insane in this fourth quarter. I think he finished the night with 7 or 8 threes, and most, if not all of them, came in that final period. It felt like the game was hanging in the balance. Pacers really, really needed this win after what happened Friday. Haliburton hit 2 threes in a row at that moment to give the Pacers a 6-point lead, and they basically had that 6-point gap the rest of the night. It was a 7-point lead until Myles Turner dunked with 20 seconds left as the dagger. So they basically held that lead the rest of the way with some key stops in there. And so, yeah, 4 for 13 is not great, but 16 points on 13 shots is fine. And Haliburton added to that 13 assists, no turnovers. That works. Plus 19, right? Even as he's been struggling this year, his impact is still felt. The amount of attention he draws from defense is still very important to the Pacers' success. And when the starting five is connected and he's playing well with those big men, he was really good at noticing mismatches tonight, I thought, and getting the ball to that player or those players who are going to have a chance to score on someone they were more effective than. He got the ball to that person on time, on target. Better game than 4 for 13 suggests from Tyrese Haliburton, and 2 of his 4 makes were huge. Bench was okay, better than good enough, obviously. Obi Toppin made half of his shots on his way to 8 points. The exact same can be said of TJ McConnell, who had 5 assists. I thought McConnell's biggest impact was filling in as the 5th starter. In this game, he played for Ben Shepherd in the closing unit because Shepherd suffered an oblique injury. Had to get that right this time. We'll see about Shepherd's long-term status. I don't have a ton to add there. Neither did Carlisle after the game. But he was chasing around Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. That's a tough task. He did just well enough for the Pacers to get across the line. Jarris Walker, Quentin Jackson sprinkle in to fill out a rotation. Pacers got it done. The starters were the biggest reason why. 97 of the 119 points come from those 5 players. Absolutely critical that they got this win to get through one of their hardest stretches of schedule of the year, these first 13 games. Tough-ish road trip coming up. Raptors look pretty good. Bucks Pacers is always very entertaining. We'll talk about it all right here on this channel. I'll be in Milwaukee Friday for Pacers Bucks, but a fun one. The Pacers got it done. I'll have much more in a longer video on the Locked On Pacers podcast. Check it out. Thanks for watching. See you soon.